Now, since I have already made the center of the flower, I'm going to make the outside. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to make my base. I find it much easier to, this is my small base also. It looked like this before I cut it out. I cut out each section because it's a lot easier for me to trace it like this, and obviously it does not have to look remotely close to being perfect or even really. I mean, it should be pretty even, but it doesn't have to be. It just gives me an idea of how and where I need to put my petals. So it's kind of like a map of telling you where to place each petal. So now these are done. I'm going to cut this out. See how it's obviously not perfect, and that does not matter because nobody sees it. It's on the inside of the flower and it gets covered by the petals. Okay, so see, this will be the back. This will be what's seen. Okay, now that my base is ready, I have all my petals here. I'm using 6 sides. This is a hexagon. It's my small hexagon. I believe it's like 3 inches or 2.5, might be 3. But it's from my small base. So now I'm going to use 6 petals. I'm going to do 3 rows of them. These are a little bit smaller than my Lush Rose template. It's a little slightly, maybe like 1/2 inch smaller. And right now I'm just gonna curl 5 petals, and I'm gonna curl them backwards. I use a flat iron because the heat really helps it set in the curl. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more because this will be, I find it easier too to do a few petals at once because it doesn't really leave lines on it when I curl them together. So now I have these 6 petals done. Just kind of folding them and moving them around. I'm gonna cut up the center. Obviously these petals are not exactly the same size, which in the middle, which is fine because they can be slightly to one side, the slit can. I'm gonna make my tab to go in the back. I just use floral wire. It's thin. Then I twist it so it has a nice little tab at the top, or loop I should say. And then I'm just going to glue it on here. And then that is ready for the petals to be put on it. Right now I'm only overlapping slightly at the base, so when I overlap one side of the petal to the other, it's going to create it a little pop-up. I don't want too much pop on these because these are the ones that lay the flattest. So just slight overlap, hold it for, you know, a few seconds, push down. Then I just keep doing this, just a slight overlap for the first row. Once I have these petals done, I'm just going to put a line of glue around the edge where I'm going to shove, well, I'm going to stick the petals, I should say. So here's one. I try to keep them in the middle too, and see how the line that I made when I first made my base. That's where I basically line up my petal to, right there. Okay, see, now my first row is done and on. My second row, I don't know how many petals are here, probably more than 6, but again, curl backwards or curl behind. Just kind of move them around again. There's a little bit of glue on this one, but that's okay. Now I'm going to cut up the center again, and obviously the line is not straight in the center, which is fine again. So now I'm just gonna overlap this slightly more. So when I put it on, it's gonna pop up more. So I'm just making them more of a pop-up by overlapping more at the base. Overlapping more. Okay, here's my 6. Now, same thing. I can put glue on the petals now. Doesn't really matter where I start, but I'm going to put it a little bit forward. So I'm bringing it into this area. So I'm pushing the petals down more so they can kind of get attached to the base in between the flowers in the first place. And these are gonna overlap slightly. See how this one is on top of this one, this one's on top of this one, this one's on top of this one. You'll have to do that more and more as you get down to the center of the base. Glue stick. I just go through and I push them around again. See the back? You cannot see the lines. So now I'm going to do my third row. Since I got a mark on this one from the glue, I'm just going to curl it the opposite direction, because then you won't see the little glue mark right in the center. Now I'm going to curl these back again. Same thing. I'm going to cut up the middle. Now these overlap. The overlap on these petals. Sorry, my kids are on Christmas vacation. These petals are going to overlap the most, giving the petal a much bigger pop-up. I call it the petal pop. The more overlap, the more the petal pops. Logan, I'm recording a video, honey. This is a small flower, which is not really that small. It's like 8 inches. But I'm gonna have a link to get these templates for this exact flower, the exact size I used of this and my base, so you can duplicate this flower. Okay, so now just gonna do the same. I'm gonna glue it a little bit closer in. Obviously, the petals are, overlapping more. And I'm really not putting these in front of this line so much. It's a little bit in front of it. But I'm gonna put my base, my center in soon. after I put my last row of smaller petals. The smaller ones are what I did the center, the outside of the center with. The video for this I just posted. I'll put a link down in the description in this video. Okay, so for these, I'm gonna curl one petal backwards and one forwards. This is gonna make it look like an S. I think actually I should have curled it the other direction. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to change the direction of these petals. And you know what? It wouldn't have really mattered. It would have looked fine the other way. It's just the way I made this flower, and they're going with a set, so I'm going to do it the same direction. Okay, for this, same thing. I'm going to cut down the middle, probably about halfway up the slit will be, and then I'm going to do glue, and this overlap is going to be pretty big because I want it to give a really good pop of the petal to bring it into the center. I'm just setting these here right now so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. And I'm gonna either do 5 petals on this one, depending on, you can do 6 of the smaller one, it just depends on how much room I feel is left for the center. And if I want to add one more, I surely can have 6 of the small ones, but I might not need to. No, I probably will add one more. So it can be a little bit tighter in the center. And find my template that I use. So when I cut out all my petals, this is exactly how I do it. I just cut each one by hand, but I do more than usually 1 piece of paper at a time. I try to do at least 3 to 5, depending on how good my scissors are. Okay, so that's that petal. Now I'm gonna do a bigger overlap, obviously, so it can have a bigger petal pop. And honestly, if you don't want to make the flower center, all you have to do is when you put these on, you can just bring them together at the top with a little bit of glue, and that will also make a really pretty center. I'll just show you that real quick. So this, I'm just putting them basically in between each of the petals that were on the 3rd row. Not directly in front of them, but kind of in the middle of where the 2 petals meet. And honestly, it does not matter really if they are exactly or perfect. It really just looks pretty when they have some sort of flow. So that is gonna be what I'm gonna do with the center. But for this, all you have to do is just add a little bit of glue to each of the top of the petals, like here, and you can just do a simple center like that, or just add 1 more row of these and gather all those together. So now I'm gonna just add my center. Super easy. Just gonna find where I want it, play around with it, right there. You're gonna have to hold this, obviously. I put usually like a tool, either like a screwdriver or a flathead or something in it, and then I push down, because the glue, when you add a lot of glue, it takes a little bit longer to dry and get hard. So now that that's in, this is the flower, and it is finished. So I will put a link for the template I made and used, which are these three, and my base. I will put those in the link below so you can order this exact flower and know how to make it. Super simple and beautiful.